now we've arrived at, just like the lick we just did, that idea 18, that horizontal movement, and moving through this E minor pentatonic scale kind of spread across the neck. Another really important tool for Hendrix that he really likes, and if you're a Wes Montgomery fan, you've heard this kind of stuff, but it's octaves. So if we're going to play an octave, all that means we're looking for a note and that same pitch, an octave higher. Okay? Now, I'm going to kind of turn sideways so you can see when I play octaves, I'm not barring, because I'm using this finger to mute the fourth string so I can hit all three, but you just get a clicking sound in here that you don't really hear. You hear the pitch, those D's, right? And you want to hit that and slide. So I keep the pressure and I just push through the fret, and it looks like this on the front. So I'm not barring, and I'm not letting my third finger collapse, because you're going to get a lot of friction. If you're too heavy-handed, you're going to get stuck in the frets. And sometimes I do octaves like this with fingers 1 and 3. And I don't know why, but a lot of times I do my pinky too. That's harder for my students, so don't feel like you have to do that. But again, I'm muting that fourth string, so I'm getting. Okay, now this goes back to, how do you know where you are on the neck? Well, if you've been paying attention and really thinking about these shapes and maybe some of the note names, here's an E. Remember, this is in this third scale. So now we're targeting the same notes we've been playing, but we're doing it in a more horizontal fashion. So the lick is this. You get 2 beats. And you can throw some vibrato on there. So I'm keying in on my first finger. That's my guide. And I'm not really worried about my pinky or my third finger. I'm using this as a reference point when I look down, and this guy's just along for the ride. So I'm seeing D, E, G, A, G, E. We're stopping at the root because that's the chord. Now, if you don't know the note names, that's okay. Think about all the work we've been doing with seeing this stuff on the neck. So you're starting at the 5th fret, 7, 10, 12. All right, so. Up here with the pinky can get a little tight. So let's try that with the recording, and let's keep the rhythm part pretty simple. So we'll just play the triads, and then, and if you want to do the mute thing with the triads, 2 beats, go. All right. So we're going to keep the rhythm pretty open and not so complicated, because we've got this lick to pull off with these octaves. So let's try that slow version with the track. 1, 2. Give it that good wiggly vibrato on the end. You could use your whammy bar. Okay, now let's try that. Let's try that a little faster. Okay, good. Now let's bounce back and let's learn a new rhythm idea. So the rhythm ideas are definitely getting more complicated. They're busier, and we're moving around more. So depending on what kind of statement you would want to make when it was time to play licks, maybe you let the rhythm be the busy part, and then you kind of simplify and let the licks breathe. And then once in a while, jump into a fast lick. I don't know. It's really up to you. There's no right or wrong. But this is the approach that you're going to see in Hendrix's playing, where he's starting to mix up all these things that we're talking about now. So let's look at example 13 for our rhythm idea, right? So now we're back to this triad. And our embellishment is going to be off that triad. There's our C major pentatonic. All right. So remember we were doing this. Okay, so now we're here. There's our triad. You see that? So when I look down, I see C, G, E. I see that bar chord we were talking about earlier. And I know it's right at the top of my pentatonic. So that's kind of the blueprint that I was talking about in the beginning. So triad, embellishment. Now our G chord is going to be right here, but we're going to slide into the third of the chord, the B note. And we're going to go, and then we're going to bring our third finger down like we did before. So it's going to travel down, grab that embellishment, and then we do the same thing for our D. Right? And one of the great things I think is really brilliant about Hendrix's playing, he doesn't play bar chords like this. He'll do that thumb over thing. It frees up his pinky. And that's not easy to do, but it's something to start working on if you're a big fan of Hendrix and Mayer. You get all these wonderful opportunities with even just having one finger free, but you're going to see the neck the same way, okay? So you have to be really intentional with, here's my triad. I have to target that G note, but see when I make that slide, I'm there. And then okay, so let's try that slowly. And then we're going to look for an E. Okay, so let's try this with the recording. Look for an E. Okay, now let's start trying to bring some licks in with that. Same rhythm, and we're going to do, why don't we just look at some of the stuff we worked on. This idea 16. So the rhythm stuff is going to be high, and then we'll kind of move lower for our lick, and then we're going to be close. We'll be right here. So right where you leave off with that A chord, you're gonna be able to grab this. All right. So why don't we do that with that lick, and then we'll probably bring in the lick before it, 15, since we're gonna be in the same area, which was this one. Right? So we'll do them in that order. We won't do them backwards. So we'll do the rhythm part, example 13. We're going to play that slowly with the recording. And then I'll start calling out the lick. So we'll bring it in after we go through it a couple times, okay? Okay, on this next time, we're going to play example 15. (16). Now let's just repeat all that. Now, you could see how if you're playing some of these busier ideas like that, and then you're going to do this, it's a lot of moving around. So this is where each player has to make their own decisions about, am I playing a whole bunch for a long period of time? Am I letting it breathe? Like, maybe a busy part like we just played coupled with something like this. I don't know, letting it open up and breathe a little bit. These are things that you're going to have to decide in your own playing. Let's try that rhythm part with the fast tempo, and let's also try the same licks. So we're going to do same idea, rhythm 13, and with ideas 15 and 16. Here we go. All right, so Walter has come in to tell me it's lunchtime, so I'm going to feed him lunch, and then we'll be right back. And we have 2 more licks to learn, and one more rhythm idea, and then we'll wrap it up.